I'm just gonna go with the flow. We're gonna have fun with this vlog because I don't know anything. Thank gosh, because I don't think I would have been able to pick this book up again. Oh, I forgot the reveal. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Leandra the TBR0, and I am very fortunate to be one of the co-hosts / ghost leaders of Team Spooky during the amazing Readathon. This is a month-long competitive readathon throughout June, hosted and created by Bree from Four Paws in a Book. It's the second year she's hosting it, and it's inspired by The Amazing Race. Each team this year is genre themed, and for Team Spooky we are covering mystery, thriller, and horror, and the first prompt has officially dropped. It is June 1st as I'm recording, and so the first city prompt dropped yesterday on the 31st of May, and we are in Toronto. I am actually over the moon. I absolutely love the first prompt. I love that the first city is Toronto, not only because I did guess it in one of my predictions when I was doing my library book haul vlog. It wasn't really a vlog, it kind of was. I'll link it above if you want to see my other predictions. But I am really pumped, and I had no idea that in Toronto there is the largest public library in the world. And inspired by that fun fact, we have our first prompt, which is to read a book that you didn't purchase. Obviously, this includes books received from the library, either physical books, ebooks, and audiobooks through Libby, Hoopla, or any other form of book reading options that don't involve you putting out any money. So it can be a gift, it could be an ARC, maybe you went to a little free library, maybe you're using YouTube or the Internet Archive for stories / books that are in the public domain, classics for instance. There are actually a lot of options at your disposal, and I love it so much. As someone who adores the library, who works for a library system and predominantly reads from a library, I'm really glad that Bree decided to feature this, and who knows what the other 9 legs are going to be, but I'm already having the best time. And so because this prompt is pretty much just read any book that is not purchased, that leaves a lot of opportunities for anyone to mood read, to choose whatever book they really want to ensure that they are reading this month, as long as it's not something that they spent money on. So for me, I had probably too many options. A lot of people, especially in the Team Spooky chat, said that. They were like, actually this is really difficult because now I actually have choices, and choices can be intimidating. I felt that way too, but I decided that I'm going to take the opportunity to read one of my co-hosts' favorites, and specifically my fellow ghost leader, Books with Lexi. So she has 5 co-host favorites. All of them are featured in one of the spooky genres, as well as being confirmed by LGBT+ authors, so a lot of bonus points. I'll also get an extra 100 GRC for traveling to spend money on possibly flying once in a while if I read one of her books or any of the hosts' books. So I have decided that my first book for this leg is going to be The Passengers by John Mars. I have the audiobook thanks to Libby. We love our library apps, and I'm only about 10% in, so I have a lot to go, and I need to catch up with my fellow spooky teammates because they are already submitting, moving on to sightseeing, and not just our team, but throughout every single team, all 5 of them, we are seeing people submit already. So I need to up my game. But I was busy this morning posting my video uploading my video that will be live for the public tomorrow, but it's live currently for my patrons at the Manor, who I absolutely adore. Thank you all so much for continuing to support me. We have the lovely sleuths, witnesses, suspects, and yes, some cadavers, our very favorite corpses in the world. So thank you all so much for supporting me, and I hope that you have enjoyed your 24-hour access, because this is also my vlog that's highlighting Bree, the creator of the amazing Readathon. It actually was perfect timing, and she ended up recommending 3 books to me in my Meet the Booktuber series. So that goes live tomorrow. I have everything prepped. I watched it. I'm feeling confident. So now there's really no excuse, and I'm gonna actually go continue reading The Passengers. I will see if I can keep giving you guys updates, especially as I move on to sightseeing prompts, as city prompts drop, but I'm just gonna go with the flow. We're gonna have fun with this vlog because I don't know anything. And so I'm gonna be as surprised as you are, depending on what happens the next few days. So yeah, wish me luck. I wish you luck with whatever team you're on. And I really do hope that you have the best time, because Bree has put so much work into this, and I'm already jazzed. Like, this is gonna be probably the best month of reading yet. And I've had some pretty good months of reading in the first 6 months of the year. Okay, yeah, I'll chat with you guys when I actually have another update. It is the second day of this readathon, and I landed in Toronto late last night. So I ended up reading and finishing The Passengers in one day. I finished it just before midnight while I was watching Crystal Bond Book Reviews, her amazing readathon sprints, and I racked up quite a few points. So with The Passengers, it was 411 pages, so I get 411 points. I also decided to fly, so that doubles my page count. I also ended up getting spooky genre points as well as LGBT plus author points, so 50 points each for those bonuses. And I actually earned $100 in GRC because this is one of the host favorites. Lexi's actually my fellow ghost leader. So I'm feeling really strong with that. As far as what I'm going to give it, I'm kind of in between a 3.5 and a 3.75. I really found it gripping. I loved that it was a sci-fi thriller. I think that a lot of you know by now that I'm a huge fan of genre blends that have some type of spooky genre a part of it. And so I really love sci-fi horror and sci-fi mystery. And obviously I'm a big fan of sci-fi thriller if we're gonna like talk about Jurassic Park and The Lost World. So this is definitely in my wheelhouse, and I had a lot of fun with the tension. I really enjoyed the social commentary when it came to self-driving cars, what the future is going to look like, what it means to have data being collected about us all the time through our devices, through public means, whether it be like cameras, other people's devices, or yeah, like public records for medical issues and the like. So I really appreciated that. And there was some social commentary on climate change, the climate crisis, and how self-driving cars isn't helping that. So I really appreciate all of those things. And I actually loved the big reveal toward the end during this kind of catastrophic event in which a bunch of self-driving cars get hacked and they pretty much have people hostage, and we're wondering if they're going to survive as these automatic driving cars make their way to some mysterious location. I really loved the negotiations and just all of the characters, their investment and their very big personalities made it for me. It was really fun. But after that, the kind of last 20-ish%, there were some thriller tropes that I have just too many issues with, and I just find them too predictable or too easy, to be completely honest. I feel like it sometimes is a bit lazy by the author, and I can't tell you those tropes because a lot of thriller tropes that are big in the thriller genre are twists for endings, and so if I tell you that, it's a big spoiler, and I just it's so frustrating. But I'm probably going to be somewhere between a 3.5 and a 3.75 for The Passengers. And not only did I land in Toronto, I have been doing some sightseeing. My first sightseeing book I did finish last night while I was in bed, just before I went to bed. I ended up reading Dungeons Club Roll Call. This is by Molly Knox Ostertag, and it is a middle grade graphic novel. It is deemed fantasy, obviously, because we're dealing with Dungeons and Dragons. It's by an LGBT plus author, so I did get bonus points for that, and I ended up counting it for a 400-point prompt, and that was a book involving a game. I promise I'm keeping track of everything. Everything's submitted. It's just my brain is gone today. And I'm on to my second sightseeing prompt right now. It's Ghost Girl by Ali Melanenko. This one's going to get me spooky genre points because it is a middle grade horror, but also LGBT plus points because the author, Ali Melanenko, is queer. So I'm doing a pretty good job when it comes to including at least one type of bonus for every single book so far. We'll see if that continues. I only have about an hour left in the audiobook, and I am finding it really interesting. And that one I'm reading because it has an animal on the cover. There are some very creepy wolves. And the reason why I'm reading it on top of that is because my Patreon at the Manor, that was the one they voted for. I provided 3 different prompts at the 300-point level. All of them were actually 4 middle grade horror options that were relatively around the same length, that also provided me all the same bonus points, and so it didn't really matter which one they chose, but they elected that I should be reading a book with an animal on the cover, so that's why I'm reading Ghost Girl. I'm going to be finishing it within the next hour. Someone needs to take care of the car. I don't know if you heard that, but their brakes did not sound good. So I will be finishing that in the next hour. We also just had a detour drop, our first detour of the amazing readathon. So while we're in Toronto, what we have to do is take a photo of a pet, of something in the outdoors, maybe a plant, a tree, We also were allowed to do a rock or a child, which I kind of find very funny. And that is in support of the fact that Toronto's zoo is really huge about wildlife preservation as well as conservation. And I love it so much. The first two prompts involving libraries and conservation, I feel like Brie has done this for me. For some reason, she is looking down upon me, smiling because my heart is soaring and I'm having such a good time. So I'm gonna go for a walk while I listen and finish my second sightseeing book. And I'm gonna see if I can find someone's pet, maybe a cat or a bunny wandering the neighborhood, and then just snap a picture, post it onto maybe my Instagram story and call it a day, because we get 200 bonus points if we do it, but you can only get those points before the next city prompt drops. So it is kind of a ticking time bomb kind of situation. Yeah, we'll go with that. It is day 3 of the amazing readathon, and we are still in Toronto. Those of us who have arrived with our travel book. I've been sightseeing, so have quite a few stabby ghosts, which I've been loving to see in the spooky team chat. But you know who also has been busy? Brie. And she's been the chaotic kind of busy. I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's backtrack and give you an update. I last left you with the plan of going for a walk, finishing Ghost Girl by Ali Melanenko. I don't think I had finished it. Yeah, I had about an hour left. And I also was in search of an animal in some type of natural habitat in my neighborhood. And I lucked out. There were so many bunnies. They were everywhere in my neighborhood, and I do tend to see them, but I was like, this is gonna be the day they all hide from me. And I quickly saw one. I was on the phone with a friend. I was like, I need to call you back. There is a bunny. I need to take a video of it. So I ended up zooming in as it was crossing the road. A car was coming, and I was like, am I gonna record a traumatic event? Like, am I actually gonna have evidence of this? But no worries, the car pulled off in a different side road, and the bunny made it across, and everything was fine. But I was like, Brie, you almost made me experience some trauma. It's fine. So I ended up getting my detour prompt completed, gave my team 200 points. So that was a success. And oh my gosh, it was so cute. We have a spooky team detour area in the team chat, and there are so many cute pictures of animals and just family and things like that. People had a lot of fun with it. So I think that it'll be a great place if people start to feel a bit stressed, have, you know, the readathon on their shoulders. They can maybe take a few minutes, scroll through there, and see some spooky furry friends. So yeah, good idea, Brie. So Ghost Girl was my second sightseeing book, if I'm doing my memory justice. I started off with Dungeon Club. That one was a middle grade graphic novel, fantasy, and really fun, actually. I gave it 4 stars. I ended up giving Ghost Girl 4 stars as well. That was spooky and just a really fun camp atmosphere. I then moved on last night while I was on Lexi's sprints, Books with Lexi, my co-host. She hosted sprints for a handful of hours, so I was like, we need to be there. We need to have Team Spooky, you know, together with a full force. So I joined her sprints for a little bit, and I read As the Crow Flies. This is another graphic novel. It's deemed YA, but I will say the main character is 13 and her close friend throughout the process is 12. I think that my library probably miscategorized it. I'd have to see if the author intended it for it to be YA, but in my opinion, it probably should be middle grade. And it was pretty good. It's more general fiction, contemporary, and I do get the bonus points for LGBT plus though, and I ended up counting it for an illustrated cover. So I believe that was 200 points. I'll provide how I'm doing as far as sightseeing prompts go, but this is, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've done a 400, a 300, and now a 200 with the illustrated cover, and I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I enjoyed it, but I did think there was one strange crush going on with our 13-year-old towards the 18-year-old counselor, and it also ended in like a strange moment. I'm gonna have to double check if this is a series because I thought it was a standalone. There's also definitely some triggers as far as Christianity and how it feels to be a part of the queer community in a heavily Christian group of people, because it is an all-white Christian youth backpacking camp, and our main character is queer and Black. So yeah, very impactful, and it won the Stonewall Honor Book Award, so totally respect that, but I didn't find it as captivating as I would have liked, so I'm gonna give it 3 stars. Okay, involving a game. Okay, so involving a game, illustrated cover, and Ghost Girl had an animal on the cover. Okay, just making sure I remember what I'm doing. So then last night I started Something is Killing the Children, but I ended up going to bed about halfway through it because I was extremely tired. And then I finished it this morning. I counted this for 5 words on the cover, or 5 words in the title. Something is Killing the Children. Boom. So that one got my team 500 points. It's also spooky and it's by an LGBT plus author. So a lot of points for that single sightseeing prompt. And then today, just before work, basically for the next like 5 hours after I'm done recording, I'm going to go to my job at the library. I know a lot of people assume that if you work at a library, you just get to read, but that is not the case. I'll be working with patrons, recommending books, putting books on hold, shelf reading, doing some cataloging. And so I likely won't be able to read, hence why I've kind of been scrambling to do as much sightseeing as possible beforehand, because everyone's feeling the tension and it feels kind of like a consensus that in the next 24 hours, the next city prompt will drop. We'll figure out what the next leg is. And I wanted to make sure that I, didn't leave a book unfinished. So my 5th sightseeing prompt, my final one for this leg, is Bunnicula. This one is so cute. It's a classic middle grade spooky novel, so I'm gonna get spooky points for it. And I really enjoyed it. It follows these pets, specifically Harold the dog and Chester, his friend, the cat, and they are uncomfortable because there's a new pet in their midst, Bunnicula, and they have this sinking feeling that Bunnicula is a vampire and their family's in trouble. The vegetables in the house are in trouble, and I love the narration. It was so cute. This is my first 5-star of the vlog, which is really exciting, and of the readathon, because everything else has kind of been 3 or 4 stars. I should have mentioned that. Something is Killing the Children, I gave it 3 stars. I wasn't that impressed with it. I feel like it needed a bit more substance, but I am willing to continue with the series. And so for Bunnicula, I chose it for, what did I choose it for? Oh, a TBR backlist, because it was published in 2022 or earlier, especially earlier. I think this came out in like the 70s or 80s, because it is deemed a classic. 1979. All right, so that is my day 3 update for this vlog, and I'm feeling pretty good as far as my contributions to the team. Every single book I've read has provided at least 1 bonus point. I've read 1 host favorite so far, which was for the city prompt, and I'm hoping to continue that. There will be days when maybe I don't get to do a spooky book or a book by an LGBT plus author, but for now, I've been able to do at least one or the other, if not both. So feeling very confident with that. All right, that's my update. Oh, I forgot the reveal, the whole sabotage scandal that Bree has revealed. I was like, oh, Bree's doing chaos. Anyways, completely forgot to mention it, which I'm sure if you're watching, you already know what it is if you're participating in the Amazing Readathon, but she pretty much dropped a bomb and said, hey, those producers who are on your teams, each of us have been assigned a producer, and those producers rotate. We don't get the same producer every time. They were told to us in the beginning that they are reading to help us. Every book they read will add to our total, which is really beneficial. Our producer for our first leg is Crystal from Bomb Book Reviews, which I was very excited about because she's one of my friends on booktube. So I was like, cool, I've got a friend in my pocket. This is awesome. And then we ended up having the reveal that there is sabotage in our midst, but we won't be aware of it until the leg closes, because there are a handful of producers who are certainly providing points for their teams. So every book they read, they're giving us points, but there are also a few producers who their entire job is actually to read and negate points from us. So every book they read hurts our team. The thing is we don't know which producers are the ones who are kind of conniving against us, but neither do the producers. The producers don't even know if they're helping their team or not when they're assigned to them. So poor Crystal has no idea if she's helping us or hurting us. And I found that a very fun twist. And I think that the entirety of Team Spooky also really enjoyed it. I'm not sure how the other teams reacted, but to be honest, we all were like, yes, we love the drama. This is so fun, which was really lovely because I know that Bree was keeping that secret very close to the chest and she was very excited to reveal it to all of us. So, I mean, Team Spooky loved it. Hopefully it works in our favor this time around, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, that is my official update for June 3rd. Is today the 3rd? It better be. It is. All right, for my 3rd day of this vlog, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye! It is the 4th of June, and last night at around 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, we got an announcement. We are now leaving Toronto and we're on our way to Buenos Aires, which also means I am 2 for 2 as far as city predictions from my library book haul video. I don't know why I'm feeling so proud, because I made no effort. I did no work. There's no skill in my guesses, but I'm feeling pretty good about myself. And I'm totally ready to be on my way to Buenos Aires. So this was actually perfect timing for me. I know quite a few people on a bunch of teams are feeling a bit of anxiety because they're still working on their way to get to Toronto, but honestly, it's totally fine. I know that by the time I record this, you will likely already be on your way to another city, but you all are doing so well, especially if this is your first ever competitive readathon or your first ever time with the amazing readathon. It's gonna take some adjustment, so don't worry, everyone's doing great. But anywho, the prompt was inspired by the tango, a very popular Argentinian dance, has seen in revival in the past few decades, according to Bree's video, which I did watch, and I feel very educated after watching it because she's done a lot of work for it. And what I'm reading for it, because the prompt is 2 POVs exactly, I pretty much was derailed in the attempt to read something spooky. Yes, there are a lot of horror, mystery, and thriller options out there, but as far as time and what I want to do with my time as I'm reading, I'm really going to be leaning on audiobooks, and I could not find an audiobook that I had access to except for Powerless by Elsie Silver. This has 2 POVs because it's a romance. I will admit that romance tends to have the upper hand with this leg. Not that really any genre doesn't have its setbacks as far as multiple POVs or just one POV, but I feel like they're a lot more readily available to kind of figure it out. So I'm gonna lean into it and I'm gonna read a romance, especially because this one is nearly 500 pages. So honestly, even if I found a horror book that would give me the 50 extra bonus points, it would not be this large, and this is a priority read for me anyway this month, so might as well get through it because I'm a part of Chestnut Springs Along. So I'm reading it with Claire from Claire's Creative Corner. She's the creator of this read along, as well as Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading, and I'm pretty sure Brittany is reading this for this leg too, so we're in it together. And I'm about maybe 150 pages in so far, feeling good, but that's pretty much my only update. I'm hoping to finish it today, and if I do have a couple sightseeing prompts in my back pocket, including Bunnicula, the graphic novel, because I'm apparently obsessed with it now. And I also have this really cute, kind of spoopy middle grade scary novel, graphic novel, Spirited. And there's a few others that I have on my radar, so I'm gonna be good. I also want to read your guide to not getting murdered in a quaint English village, because that is for the Manor, my Patreon. That's our book pick for only murders in the book club. So yeah, I've got plans, but for now I'm working on my city prompt as I should. And I'm also on sprints right now with some really lovely people, and I really appreciate it because I sprint on Tuesdays during the day, which, isn't the most opportune time for people to kind of put their lives aside. Maybe they're not working or they are working, but they've got other tasks to be done. But it's still been a really full house, those in the comments, but also on screen. I've had Shay from Shay Geeks Out. I've had Margaret the Word Nerd. I also had Reading When Neva, aka Neva, and a few other people who are hosts have said that they would be willing to jump on at any point if I needed the assistance, just because there's really big crowds and it's really nice to have friends on screen as well in the comments. So anyways, again, everyone's been so lovely in this entire experience, so thanks friends. But I will give you an update tomorrow on the 5th day of this readathon. It is day 6 for the amazing readathon. I didn't update you yesterday, but I didn't really do much yesterday, except, did I update you? I can't remember. I don't think I did, but I am officially in Buenos Aires, if I didn't mention that. I ended up finishing Powerless all in one day, and thank gosh, because I don't think I would have been able to pick this book up again. I got my team 481 pages read thanks to the audiobook. I did fly again, which is a bit nerve-wracking. So I've flown twice already in this readathon. I might have to take the middle option wherever we go next, and also do some GRC reading. So I feel like you'll see me reading quite a few host favorites the next few days, just to make sure that I'm not overextending my wealth, because 5,000 GRC and taking flights all the time, that money's going to deplete pretty quickly. But I've also been sightseeing. I ended up finishing Bunnicula, the graphic novel, because I'm just slightly obsessed. I really enjoyed the physical novel, the original publication of it. Also, someone is, of course, mowing their lawn as I'm recording. So if you hear it, it's a lovely day outside, I can confirm. So I ended up doing this for non-human character. I got my team 400 points for that. Today, while I was on Brittany's sprints for Brittany Loves Reading, she ended up buddy reading this with me, very impromptu, Cat Plus Gamer Volume 3, and I counted this for a book that has less than 1,000 ratings on Goodreads. My patrons over at the Manor, this is what won when I put up the poll, and thank you so much to those who voted for that prompt. You didn't know what book I was reading it for, but I love it so much. It's so good. The series is great. I've got book 4 in the series on my to be read shelves as well, so I'll definitely be reading that this month. And I started The Murder of Mr. Ma. I'm doing this as a buddy read with my friend Danny from Danny Dabbles, and she's not participating in the Amazing Readathon. We're doing probably like 50 pages a day for this. Eventually, I'll be able to count this for some type of sightseeing prompt, but at the moment, it's very early days, and I'm gonna have to keep reading other things to make sure I'm giving my team some points. There was also a very interesting hint or warning given to us by Bree while we were just on sprints with Brittany. So I'm glad I was there because I have to run off to work now, so I didn't get to stay. They're still sprinting right now. But Brittany said through Bree, or Bree said through Brittany, that we need to start reading. We need to be logging ASAP because time is of the essence, meaning that honestly, probably the next 24 hours, we are going to be moving to the 3rd city, getting the 3rd prompt, and just continuing on with this amazing race through books. And I'm feeling pretty confident, but I do want to get a few more sightseeing books in. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to bring my headphones because if I've got to do some shelf reading or some shelving while at the library tonight, I can listen while I'm doing that. And if it's slow, maybe I could get another manga or graphic novel in. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm feeling pretty good, especially because with this leg already, I have submitted a huge book with the flight. I also ended up getting 2 sightseeing for a 500 and a 400 point prompt. So yeah, we're going strong. Let's go Team Spooky. It is the 7th day of June, meaning that we are 1 week into the Amazing Readathon, and we have started our 3rd trek, trying to get to our 3rd city, which is Berlin. Now, the prompt for this one, I really enjoyed the idea of because it's inspired by the amazing transport systems that exist within the city and honestly within the country of Germany. When I have visited Germany in the past, I've always been impressed and intimidated by how well run the public transport is. And so Brie has provided us with a prompt of movement in the title. So we need an action verb of some sort. If you can fulfill this sentence, I can blank, insert verb here, then honestly, you're good to go. I think that some people are having difficulty in the Discord, mainly because it's a bit intimidating and dependent on your own interpretation, and no one wants to be wrong. No one wants to be malicious when they're trying to figure out what books count. But I will say it's easier, especially for Team Spooky, compared to the last prompt that we all had for Buenos Aires, which was 2 POVs exactly. That one was really difficult, specifically if we wanted to include our genre bonus points, whereas for this one with movement, Team Spooky had a ball when we realized that verbs like murder, kill, drown all counted. And I find that very funny that we're like, wait, we have the verb murder, we're good to go. And I'm like, stabby ghosts assemble. We're doing a great job. So for me, I know that I have read a couple bigger books in the last 2 legs. Both of them were over 400 pages, and that's big for me. One of them was almost 500. And I'm changing up my own strategy just to switch things up and make sure that I don't find myself in a slump. So I am reading This Appearing House by Ali Malinenko. So this is a middle grade horror, and I actually just tried Ali Malinenko for the first time during this readathon. During the first leg, one of my sightseeing prompts was for Ghost Girl by this author. I gave it 4 stars. I had a good time with it. So I'm trying this one because it was also recommended by someone within the Discord on Team Spooky. She also read it for one of the sightseeing prompts, I believe. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, in that case, I'm going to read this next. So it's a little bit shorter. I have the audio as well. And I think for me, that's going to work out well because I probably could finish it today and then just immediately start sightseeing, trying to make up for lost time because I didn't get to sightsee as much as I would have liked during our second leg. So that's my plan. We'll see how it goes. You have one more update from me before I wrap up this first week. Tomorrow, Saturday, and then we'll be good to go. But wish me luck. It looks spooky. It looks very fun. I've been in a very atmospheric mood lately. I also started 13s by Kate Alice Marshall. So it seems like for whatever reason, the Amazing Readathon is making me just want to read like all middle grade horror, and I'm not mad about it. I also just went for a walk, hence why I look the way I do. And I probably smell, but you can't smell me because that's not how YouTube works. So yeah, I'm gonna go shower. It is June 8th and we have seen the end of the first week of the Amazing Readathon. We are still in the third city, but there have been rumblings, questions of how long this third leg will be, especially because earlier today we had the announcement of Berlin's detour, and usually that means we don't have much time left. I ended up completing it, and what we had to do was post one of our most beautiful, gorgeous covers so that we could create basically a book cover museum on social media in honor of all of the museums and historical sites in Berlin. And I really love that prompt. I ended up choosing to showcase Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson just because that cover is gorgeous. It's also a really good book. So to give you my final update before I begin week 2 Amazing Readathon vlogs, I can confirm that I am officially in Berlin. So I finished This Appearing House by Ali Melanenko. It's 278 pages. I decided to go, is it by boat? The middle option, so only 400 GRC. I didn't think it was worth it size-wise to pay 850 GRC for a flight, especially since I've already gotten 2 flights under my belt. It didn't seem worth it, and it was really expensive. So I went for the middle option. I'm getting my team 278 points plus a confirmed LGBT plus author, Ali Melanenko, and then on top of that, spooky genre, because this is a middle grade horror. So I added an additional 100 points to that. I'm feeling very confident about it. And then I've already done some sightseeing. I have about an hour left in my audio for 13s by Kate Alice Marshall, so I will be including that for some type of prompt. But for now, I ended up completing Spirited while I was at work. We are in the car because I am currently on lunch while at the library, and I counted this for a 100-point prompt if I can remember what it was. Oh, it was for odd number of pages, because there's an odd number of pages for this middle grade graphic novel. Very fun, very spooky, supernatural, but not spooky genre, so I didn't count it for any bonus points for that. I also ended up finishing Things in the Basement. This is another middle grade graphic novel, and honestly, the illustrations are really gorgeous and kind of haunting. I absolutely adore it. I will 100% be recommending it to all of my patrons, no matter what age group they're in. It's a newer release, but I did end up counting it for a 300-point sightseeing prompt with 4.0 or higher Goodreads ratings, because this has like a 4.22, and it was really good. I really loved it. The illustrations were gorgeous, and yeah, it was very creepy, so definitely atmospheric for a middle grade, but also heartwarming for the ending and the found friendship and everything like that. So I'm feeling pretty confident. I already have 2 sightseeing done. I did the detour. I'm already in Berlin, but I am hoping to get a few more in. I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like Team Spooky, you know, I'm doing all the best I can for you all, so I hope that you are like as dedicated as I am. But if life is happening, honestly, don't worry. If you're behind, also don't worry. Friends, the Amazing Readathon is meant to be fun and just meant for you to interact with new people, challenge yourself in different ways, and read books that you might not have read without the prompts provided. So as long as you're doing all of that, honestly, you're winning. You're having a great time. But that's not all. As a reward for making it to the end of this video, I have a very interesting statistic from Brie for Pause in a Book herself. So during the second leg of this race in Buenos Aires, my team, Team Spooky, we ended up having 65% of the books submitted counting for our spooky genres. So that's right, we racked up quite a bit of bonus points, and you might want to be on the lookout if you're not on Team Spooky, because we're coming for you and we are going hard on those those bonus points. Thank you so much for getting to the end of the vlog. I really do appreciate you all, whether you're participating in it or not. I hope you're having fun seeing the books that I'm reading, seeing how I'm interpreting certain prompts, and yes, I am having a good time. So I also want to thank my newest patrons at the Manor. We ended up introducing to our guest list a brand new sleuth, Bruna. I also wanted to shout out my 2 new witnesses. We have Andrea and Jamie, and we have some more suspects, which of course puts us all a little bit more on edge. Coda and Jess, and it's also Jess's birthday today. So happy birthday, Jess, from the Hex Library. She also happens to be the producer for Our Leg in Berlin. So this all feels very serendipitous and perfect timing. But with that, I am gonna end this vlog. I hope that you enjoyed yourselves. If you did, make sure to like the video and also consider subscribing, because then you should be notified by YouTube every time another video pops up, because why not have more of me in your life? Okay, I'm gonna end here. Bye, friends!